AI is transforming the way we work, the way we play, and the way we live. It's one of the single most significant changes that has taken place in the world in decades. And a lot of people have a lot of different thoughts about it. I've talked to hundreds of radio people and spoken at conventions and seminars and talked to clients, talk to personalities, to managers, to VPs of programming, to heads, CEOs of companies. And everybody is searching for some answers. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's a really creative place to be. It's an experimental place to be. But you're going to find that the power of AI comes down to some simple things. And I'm going to share those things with you today. But first, I'm going to give you some things that I've learned from all of the conversations that I've had. The question is, how do you feel about AI? And I found that it breaks down into about 4 different categories. Everyone probably falls into one of these 4. It's awesome. I use it every day. It's changing the way that I work. It changes the way that I manage my show or manage my station. And I'm getting so much out of it. And I can't wait to see where it goes next. Another response is, well, it's really interesting and I'm hearing a lot about it, but I don't quite understand it. And it's changing so fast, I can't keep up with it. So interesting, but overwhelming. And I really don't get it. Another is, it doesn't work. I tried it and it sucks. It doesn't work and it's never going to work. A lot of people in that category, by the way. And the other is the bots are going to kill us all and take everything that we've ever gained. And I'm afraid and scared to death about it. And I understand some of that fear. A lot of times that fear comes from lack of knowledge or lack of experience or knowing what to do with AI. Today, I'm going to demystify that for you a little bit because I've found in the last couple of years of working with Radio Content Pro that it all comes down to the input. You've heard the concept garbage in, garbage out. It used to come from computer programming and things that you put into your searches on Google. Well, it's the same thing with AI, garbage in, garbage out. And it's all about managing prompts. So I'm going to show you today the power of the prompt and how you can get more out of it. And I'm going to share some concepts that I've learned and that we've learned at Radio Content Pro and some things that you can apply to your radio station instantly. All right. So today I'm going to show you prompting basics, how to unlock the power of AI, the best practices, and how to avoid the whole garbage in, garbage out thing, and usage examples. I'm going to show you how to use AI and prompts for what you do on air, online, and in your operations on a daily basis. So let's start with the basics. Let's talk about how to prompt. What are some of the prompting basics? Well, usually when personalities or programmers or any user has a problem with AI, it comes from not giving enough information or being specific enough. So it starts with telling AI what you want from it. Who are you? Who is AI? It has to know what you want from it in order to give you what you want. So it has to know you to help you. And that's where it starts. So who are you? What do you do? What do you do for a living? What do you want from AI? So here's an example of part of a prompt. I am a friendly but irreverent radio personality who doesn't take things seriously. My character is a blend of Jimmy Kimmel and Ricky Gervais. I'm a little edgy in a naughty but not nasty way, and my primary goal is to make my audience smile or laugh. By telling AI who you are, it can now communicate with you on a much more informed level. If you don't give it that information, it's going to give you something much more generic. So start with who you are. Then, who's AI? What is the role that you want the AI to play for you? So you assign it a role. For example, you are my research assistant. Your job is to create new situations and scenarios based on the life of a typical adult woman between the ages of 30 and 39. Now it has a vision of who you are and who it is, what you expect from it. It's no different than having an assistant or a producer or an intern, and you're training them, giving them instructions. So you're training the AI to perform in the role that you want it to. So tell it who you are and assign a role of what you want from the AI. Third thing is tell it what you want it to do. You have to assign a specific tasks. What do you want? Do you know what you want? You can't just be generic and say, give me some ideas. I'm stumped here. I don't have any concept. It'll give you something, but it won't be something that you can probably use. So what is it specifically that you want the AI to do for you? Here's an example. I'm going to give you a list of popular artists and songs on my radio station. Your job is to research and write interesting 60-second stories about songs and artists. Okay? Very specific, tells you exactly what you want it to do, and it can understand that. All right? Next tip is to be clear and be very specific. What is it that you want exactly? Now, the more vague you are, the less value you'll extract. The more clear you are and the more specific you get, the better output you'll get from ChatGPT or Grok or Claude or whoever you use. Here's something not to do. Hey, what are the latest trends in radio? You're going to get something that it leads you to that conclusion that AI sucks, it doesn't work, and I'm giving up. It's never going to get there. Instead, say, I want you to analyze the trends in radio listening over the past 7 years compared to streaming services and podcasts. It's a great place to start. Now, you're probably going to still get something that's a little broader and more vague than you wanted it to be. You're probably expecting something a little more specific than the first output, but then you can communicate with it, carry on a conversation, and get as specific as you want to go. So be clear and specific up front of what you want, and then have a conversation from there. Next is to provide a context. If the AI doesn't know the bigger picture and the industry that you're in, or some facts that will help it gather the information and give you what you want, it's going to draw some conclusions that may not be accurate. And that will also lead to some disappointing results. So help that understand the bigger picture. Here's an example. This video podcast episode is going to be based on a radio segment I performed last week. Expand on the topic with greater detail that will result in an episode that is 5 to 7 minutes long. And from there, you can either copy and paste some text from the radio episode. And with some platforms, you can even upload the audio or give the AI a link to either listen to or watch a video of what you created so it can extract the information and then give you something that is exactly what you're looking for. It will repurpose your content in ways that you never imagined, but you've got to give it that context. I'm doing a video podcast episode based on a radio segment. So I want you to do this in a different format. I want you to do it in a different application than the original. Okay. So, and then tell it how long you want the segment to be. There's a lot of ways that you can use this that we'll get into them to get more specific. Ask AI open-ended questions, not closed questions. By the way, you're going to notice that some of these best practices for AI are very similar to what we coach radio personalities to do. Like keep it concise and keep it specific and be clear and be direct and open-ended. That's another air personality best practice. Ask open-ended question, not closed questions. If you ask closed questions, you're going to get yes or no answers, and it'll be vague and it won't be very useful. So you want to encourage detailed answers. And you can even tell the AI, I want you to be very detailed here and give me all the background information I need to justify why you're giving me the information that you're giving me. Here's a couple of examples. This is a closed question. Is Taylor Swift the most famous pop star in the world? It'll give you something like, yes, Taylor Swift is the most popular pop star in the world. Her concerts have sold out all over the world, and it'll give you some statistics and some revenue information that she's taken in from her recent concert tour. But it's not going to be very detailed, and it's not going to be as useful as something if you ask an open-ended question to get to the same kind of output. Instead, say something like, list the 25 most famous pop stars in the world with a short comment about each and the data that justifies their place on your list. In other words, why did you put them there? So the AI will source a variety of articles, a variety of sources online, and put something specific together that only you have if you encourage detailed answers and open-ended questions and have it justify the reasons why it's creating that for you. Finally, use examples. If you want the best type of output from AI, show it what good output looks like. Clarify the type of information you want and what it should look like and what it is for. So show it what a good result would be. Here's an example. I want you to analyze and summarize the ratings data for WXXX and my 4 primary competitors for the last 24 months. Identify the trends and show me how the audience has changed from month to month, quarter to quarter, and year over year. Then summarize the ratings performance of each station in a clear report that makes it easy to understand. Here's an example of the output. And then you could upload a document, a spreadsheet, or a PDF that shows exactly what you want the output to look like, and the columns that you want, and the statistics and the data you want, and AI will go to work and it will give you some ratings analysis that you weren't able to get, that you didn't think of, perhaps on your own. It'll give you some ideas of different areas that you can explore when you're doing an analysis. So use examples of what a good result looks like. So what are some best practices? Those are some broad tips on how you can write better, more creative prompts. Now, what are some best practices for how you achieve that? Here are a few. Number 1, be concise, be direct. I mentioned this a little bit ago, and this is be concise and be direct is what we tell personalities. If you give too much information, it confuses the AI just as much as if you've got 3 radio personalities who are giving way too much background, way too much detail, and getting bogged down in the weeds. Just like that confuses your audience. So be concise, be direct, but also at the same time, be thorough. Here's an example of being direct and using some simple language. Avoid jargon and avoid complex sentences. Don't say things like, I want you to explain the intricacies of programming commercial-free music hours to increase average quarter hour in PPM measured markets. Notice that's jargon. It's a complex sentence. There's a lot of industry terms there. Instead, explain the same thing in real terms, in simpler language. I want you to analyze the attached ratings trends and provide recommendations to increase audience listening with a 75-minute commercial-free music suite between 7 and 10 a.m. Focus on the times the available audience is largest, as shown in the report labeled PUM. Okay, now it knows what all of that information that you're giving it is, knows exactly what you want. Remember some of the other tips that I gave you. Be very clear on who the AI is, who you are, what you want from it, and what a good output looks like. So that's using simple language to get to that goal. And by the way, sometimes simple language is not quite as concise. It takes a little bit longer, just like on the air. You can be direct and concise, but it might take a few more words to get there. So you'll notice in the don't do this, it's 2 lines. The instead do this is 5 lines. It's more words, but it's more concise at the same time. It's more direct and it's more understandable to the AI. A lot of this is just basic communication skills that you can use in your everyday life too. Encourage ideas. You want the AI to think innovative, give you innovative thoughts and inspire innovative thinking. And one way to do that, again, just like working with personalities, narrow the focus and expand the possibilities. If you've been on some of my webinars before, I've talked about the inverted funnel system. If you're talking about on the air about a topic that's really broad, like where's the best place to go on vacation, it's a very broad topic. And it could be just about anything, but it doesn't get very interesting, does it? It doesn't get very innovative. The more you narrow it down to something like, what's the worst experience you've had while on vacation in a foreign country? That's specific. You've narrowed the focus And in doing so, you expand the possibilities because it takes listeners there. Same thing with the AI. The more you narrow the focus, telling it exactly what you want, what the output should look like, and you encourage it to be creative and give you some things that you haven't thought of before, and not ask it a yes or no closed question, it will expand the possibilities of what it gives you. So encourage ideas by asking those open-ended questions. Be direct and correct it. The great thing about AI is that it's like the best employee you've ever had. Um, it will do whatever you ask. It'll do it instantly. It will never make excuses, and you can say anything you want to it without getting dragged into HR. It's fantastic. So use prompts that inspire that innovative thinking. And if you don't get what you wanted the first time, say, no, that's not what I asked you. Let me be more clear. How can I make you understand this? That's not what I wanted. And it will apologize and it will try again. So guide the AI to better solutions. And as it gives you things that you like, things that work for you, tell it, hey, this is great. This is perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And it'll give you a response back like, great, I'm glad that I could help you with that. And if it doesn't give you what you want, things that you dislike, tell that too, and tell it why that isn't what you were looking for. And every time you do that, it's going to get smarter about delivering exactly what you want. So direct and correct, just like you would with an assistant or somebody that is working for you. The next thing about the best practices is to get started. I mean, get started today. I've talked to so many people who have downloaded ChatGPT, or they've opened a free account and they try it and they don't quite understand what they're doing. They ask it a couple of questions. They can't think of anything to ask it and they get frustrated with it. They think it's too time consuming. They're not getting much back from it and they give up. Don't give up. Experiment. Experiment if you want to improve your prompting. And you're going to prompting with AI is a constant experiment because AI is always changing. New versions come out, new algorithms happen, and what the prompt that worked for you 3 months ago may not work at all today, and it may not work in the same way. So you have to update your methods as well. So experiment if you want to improve. And this is probably my best piece of best practices advice. Upgrade to the paid version. The free version is fine, but it's like $20 a month for Grok or Claude or ChatGPT or Copilot, whichever one you use. Upgrade to the paid version. Spend the $20 a month and compare the results with the free and the paid, and you'll never go back to free. It's so much more powerful. It's so much faster, and it's capable of doing so much more than the free version. Now, eventually, every one of these AI services will come out with a new version, and the one that you were paying for before is now free. But the leap forward will continue as well, and you always want to be using the one that is most effective and most efficient. The cost is minimal. So upgrade to paid. Now, here's what you're all looking for. You probably came to this to say, what are some of these magic wands that I can wave and get some usage examples and some cases that I can apply on my station or apply on my show right away? And I've got a bunch of them for you. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. And again, don't feel like you got to take a screenshot of it because you can download all the slides at the end of the presentation. So I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. First of all, content. You can get names of features, names of promotions, names of contests, campaigns, positioning lines. You can get features in games, how to introduce songs and contests. That's a great one. I did this with a personality that I'm coaching a few weeks ago who was really stuck in a rut of saying things exactly the same way, break after break, day after day, hour after hour. And she was really frustrated because she knew she was in that rut. So I said, well, let's create a prompt. And so I said, give me the things that you're talking about, the things that you have to say, whether it's liners, liner cards, positioning statements, back-selling songs. Give me those things. And let's identify who you are as a personality, what your station is about, and let's put in a prompt. So we came up with about a 200 or 250 word prompt and said, give me 25 ideas of different ways to introduce this song and this artist, taking into account all the things that I told you. And you wouldn't believe what came out of that. It was fantastic. So be creative with it. And a lot of times the great thing about AI is that it is getting you unstuck, because as soon as you can see some of the other ways of doing things that AI gives you, you can take it from there and run with it and create your own. So it'll help inspire your creativity. It'll help you write teases. I'm going to show you, Radio Content Pro will show you how AI can write teases. If you take one of the demos, and I'll talk about Radio Content Pro in a minute, it'll help you write promos. It'll help you record promos. I'm not going to talk about AI voice today. That's not what this is about. But we're even using AI voice in a lot of promos on some of the stations that I'm working with today. So, but for the most part, you want to use it for writing promos and getting ideas for promos and using it for inspiration. Here's an example. Here's a prompt. I'm creating a new interactive game. The objective is to identify the title and artist of a song based on 2 lines of lyrics from that song. Create 50 episodes of the game using songs that would be familiar to a person between the ages of 35 and 54. The song should be familiar, but the clues, lyrics should not be obvious. Include 3 multiple choice options for each question. Here's an example of the output. Question: just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Is the song Don't Stop Believin', The Boys of Summer, or Invisible Touch? Answer: Don't Stop Believin'. That's the prompt. I've noticed how I've been specific there. I've been thorough, but concise at the same time. Didn't give anything there that we didn't want. I want it to pick the songs. I'm not picking the songs. I'm saying, hey, AI, you pick the songs. Just make sure that they fit this criteria, 35, 54. And by the way, you can also get more specific if you want. I want these to be popular songs that were in the Billboard Hot 100 between these years. And they should be pop rock or rock based in nature, because I work at a classic hits radio station, and it will give you that type of output. I didn't put it in here because that prompt was going to get too long, but you can put as much criteria in there for what you want as you can be creative with it. So that's what I told it I want. Here's what comes out of it. Here's the output. She's got a question. She's got a smile that seems to me, reminds me of childhood memories. Is the song Sweet Child of Mine, Pour Some Sugar on Me, or Jump? Answer: Sweet Child of Mine. It just gave you an episode for a game, and it would create 50 of those because I asked it for 50. Finish those 50, and you can say, hey, you know what? Give me another 50, but don't repeat any of the ones that you just gave me. And it'll give you another 50, and it'll do that endlessly. Once you get a good prompt like this, save that prompt, because you can reuse it over and over. Here's a way you can use it for music. I am creating a special playlist of songs that capture the feeling of summer. You're my music expert. Create a playlist of 10 songs. Each should be up-tempo. The songs can be any genre, any era, but they must be popular with a typical adult woman between the ages of 25 and 40. Songs can include lyrics that are specifically about summer, or songs that just capture the feeling of summer, and then include the reason you suggested each song. Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. It's a modern hit with an 80s vibe, perfect for summer. Can't Stop the Feeling, Levitating, and it goes on down the list. It's 10 great songs. Sometimes it'll give you 1 or 2 that don't fit, and you can say, okay, I want you to redo the list, take out this song, and replace it with something else. And it will come back and it will give you something else that's that fits that category. You can use it for countdowns from weeks. You can use it to create themes for features or format compatible songs that you may have forgotten about that may be good for programming on your station, and you may have forgotten all about those songs, and they've skipped on some of your searches for adding more depth and variety. It's good for all request suggestions. It's good for compatible genres. There's some amazing things that you can do with AI when you say, I want to target a 33-year-old adult male who grew up with rock music. What are some compatible genres, and what are some other styles of music this person might be interested in? You can do it for a target era, for a gold library, by defining and identifying exactly who your target audience is. Personalities, you can use it for creating character. You can do it for content preparation, for scripts and voiceover copy, for building depth for your character profiles. I'm not sure if you've done a character profile. If you haven't, there's a lot of things that you can do using AI to help you with that. And Radio Content Pro is developing a tool that will automate that for you in the very near future. You can brainstorm ideas. You can use it to create listener testimonials. That's awesome. How many times do you ask a listener for a testimonial and they don't know what to say? You can create testimonials for them and then just say, here, maybe some of these fit some of the things that you're trying to say. Can you say some of these things back to us? Or you can use AI voices to be your listener testimonials. And you can use them for callers in comments in situations that are created, whether it's a group therapy feature or second date update or some things like that. A lot of times you can create some comments that you assign to a text that came in, and it could be a listener comment about that situation to get your content off to a great start. Here's an example. Use the attached character profile as a guide. I'll provide a topic. You provide several responses to that topic using various qualities that you'll find in the profile. The topic is the rumors of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting engaged. That was a story that was going around a few weeks ago. And here's the output. I'm not going to go through all of this, but you can see that it gave me 5 different qualities, 5 different character traits of that personality, and something that personality might say through one of those character traits about Travis and Taylor. Amazing stuff. Really, really powerful. For operations and what you do online, look into chatbots. You've probably seen these on some websites already, but using AI to interact with the audience is fantastic. It makes your website come alive. It can provide information about community events. It can interact with you for requesting songs. So instead of getting a busy signal or nobody picks up the phone or a machine, they can interact with the AI, and the AI can take those requests. They'll feel like they've been heard. And you can also answer questions about programming. So all you have to do is tell AI that you want it to create your chatbot for you. Create a chatbot script for gathering listener feedback on our new morning show using the information and details provided in this document. And that's a document you would upload. Try to direct user responses to the questions provided in order of priority listed. Emphasize the importance of verbatim responses and prompt the user for a testimonial that we can use in marketing and advertising both on and off the air. Then you upload the detailed description and of the show and questions you would like answered in the conversations. It's awesome. So you're using it for basically a listener survey, and it's an interactive survey instead of just another online survey where they're clicking through questions and multiple choice answers. Chatbots can be really, really powerful, and you can use several of them on your site. Here's an example of what the output looks like. Okay, so I'll let you look at that for a second. I'm not going to read all the way through that just in the interest of time because I want to get to some of your questions as soon as I can. You can use it for your blog, for your website. You can use it to create digital content online and social media. It'll write and edit blog content, which is another function that Radio Content Pro does in all of its services. It'll create headlines for you that are amazing. A lot of times I'll get writer's block when I'm writing my blog or writing an article for the Insiders Radio Network, and I just can't come up with a clever headline. So I'll send the whole article to ChatGPT and say, I need some clever headlines that will get attention and make this pop. And I get some great stuff. Don't always use exactly what they send me, but I use it as inspiration to get unstuck. You can optimize your social posts. It'll give you ideas for keywords and hashtags from your content. You can ask it for keyword audience reach and advertising ideas. And you can use it to write emails for your email marketing newsletter. Just make sure you give it the parameters, how long it should be and what you're using it for. Here's an example. You're my creative director, my creative writer and editor. Your assignment is to write a 300 to 500 word blog post about this topic with 5 suggestions for clever, catchy titles that will create curiosity and interest. Then suggest hashtags and keywords. Write in my personality and style, which is, you put in your style there, And I've included 3 good writing samples to use as examples and a guide so you can replicate my character and voice. And that's really important, that if you're doing this for your writing or for a script that you're going to use for a video or something like that, tell the AI, give the AI a demonstration of some of your best work. This is one of 3 of my best articles. You can get an idea of how I write, and it will replicate the way you write and the way that you think and the way that you talk, and it'll give you much better output. So there's a good example of that. Now, if you get something back that you don't like, or it's too vague, or it's too generic, say, look, that's a good start, but try again. And this time use more common language with fewer complex words. Make it less formal and include anecdotes to add color and interest to the story. In other words, tell it what you want. Also, add appropriate quotes and 3 to 5 provocative questions that might start a discussion in the comments section. Then suggest a few ideas for related articles and a brief outline of each of those articles. Finally, rewrite the article as a casual video script that could be presented in less than 2 minutes. So you've just given it a bunch of assignments, and the assistant will go out there and do it for you. Now, if you're giving it a lot of instructions in the same prompt, you might want to break that up into multiple prompts, but you can give them those multiple assignments in the same prompt. But tell it, I want you to think through each step slowly and completely and thoroughly. Otherwise, it has a tendency sometimes to rush through it, and you won't be satisfied with the output. You can use it for analysis. You can analyze social media traffic, recommendations for your website, ideas to increase stickiness online through topics, through ideas, ratings analysis and trends, and how to enhance your programming. Here's an example. I want you to analyze the comments from the last 30 days on the social media URL to gauge the overall sentiment from those posting comments. Sort the output based on the topic with a table that shows percentages of positive versus negative messages. Include the most thorough and insightful comments as verbatim text. After each topic, summarize your analysis in a couple of paragraphs. Awesome prompt, and it works really well. You might get something back like this. Sentiment analysis report, morning show hosts. Positive comments, 65%. The common theme is this. Summary, mostly positive, with suggestions for minor tweaks to enhance listener satisfaction, which is kind of generic because I didn't give it any real data. I didn't use that as a real example. The more detail there is in there, the better it will happen. So, thank you so much for coming to the webinar. Thanks for being a part of it and all of your support. I hope you learned some things from this. I hope you got some inspiration from it. And I hope that you'll be able to put it to use and knock it dead with AI. I'm Tracy Johnson. Thanks for coming.